Welcome to the Imperfect Dads podcast. This is your host, Devin. We believe dads care deeply about their family and kids, but they don't always have a space to discuss what their life looks like. Our podcast is a space for dads to discuss the ups and downs of fatherhood and how they feel like they're holding it together or how they're not. Thank you for joining us for this episode. This podcast is part of the Never a Face Network. Make sure to follow them on Instagram or go to the website neverafacenetwork.com. On this episode, we have on John Hord from the Engaged Father Project. We talked about having a teenage daughter, social media as a parent, learning to be more intentional and vulnerable, leaning into the hard seasons of parenting, and wanting to be a guide for your kids. A lot of John's story is switching careers to being a life coach. John runs the Engaged Father Project, where he's building a community of fathers and creating space for dads to talk about the hardships and joys of being a dad. He tells a story of the moment when he decided he needed to make changes in his life and the joy he feels when his kids refer to old dad compared to the current version of himself. Make sure to follow the Engaged Father Project on Instagram if you're looking for community. Just like one more thing.
Dad, just start the episode.
Oh, my bad. Hey, John, welcome to an episode of The Imperfect Dads. I really appreciate you taking the time to do an episode.
Yeah, thanks, Devin. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Of course. Usually, first question I ask people is, how many kids you got? Ages, all that good stuff.
2, daughter, 13, son, 9.
What's it like to have a 13-year-old? I have 9, 7, and 4-year-old. So like to have a kid that's a decade old, I'm still just like, that's an option? How does that work?
Yeah. My daughter, she's remarkable. She teaches me something like from her sphere of knowledge. And also like she helps teach me things about myself. It's incredible. You know, I'm a certified, coach or life coach. And so I'm good at helping people discover things about themselves and asking like deep and meaningful questions. I'm good at it. I've been trained to do it. And she'll catch me sometimes with a question that just floors me. And I'm like, where did that come from? Like, that was amazing. And you just gave me the perfect thing that I needed at the perfect time. And to get that from a kid is awesome. So like my answer, it's great because like she's old enough and smart enough and independent enough to where it's not just like father and kid. It's like, I got this awesome human being that happens to live in the house with me. And like, it's an awesome.
Yeah. I think curiosity to me takes a lot of mental presence. And I think kids almost always are able to be mentally present because my head's in like a million places at once trying to be responsible for things. And kids are just like, why do you think this is like this? And you're like, that's the most genuine, pure curiosity. That's youth to me. Youth is like to be able to be curious and just ask questions and be curious about how the world works is like such a thing of like youth in life that I'm like, oh, I need to remember that and stop being such a curmudgeon sometimes.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting to kind of explore like the things that we as grownups have in our head, like whatever's occupying our mental space, like what is that? Like, where does it come from? And like, does it really matter? Like over time, like we experience other people and like we are the average of the 5 people that we spend the most time around, right? I fully believe that. And so like we kind of take on some of their worries and we are concerned with things that they're concerned about. So like, I think like pausing and like just taking inventory of like what is like actually occupying our mental space and then just kind of questioning it, being like, do I really care about that? Can I do anything about it? And if not, it's like, you know what? Like maybe I can just let that go. Maybe I've always thought that I needed to care about that.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't. That's really freeing.
It is. It's like, I don't know. It's like the therapy journey that a lot of people get started on. I feel like once they have kids, it's like, what do I feel like I'm responsible for? Why the heck do I feel responsible for this? Should I be responsible for this? I feel like if I encounter something where it's like in my mental space, those are like the questions I ask myself. It's like, why do I feel like this is my responsibility to fix this? Is it? And how do I feel about that? Is like, I feel like parenting immediately makes you be like, hey, do you feel responsible for this, right? And you're like, do I? Wait, should I be? Am I? I am. Okay, hold on. Let's figure this out.
Yeah. And if you get to an answer that like feels really true or meaningful, it's like, great. Like that's what I would call alignment. You're like, Cool.
Yes.
I know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing or what I'm supposed to be caring about. So like I'm going to double down and you're probably going to do an even better job at whatever it is because you have that sort of alignment. And then sometimes I know I'll speak for myself. I'll catch myself and be like, maybe this really doesn't matter. And then I'll just, I'll put it down, whether I'm like physically doing something or just mentally, and be like, I'm just gonna set that down. And if it needs to make its way back in because I realize later that it is important, then
Hmm.
I'll cross that bridge when I get
Yeah,
there.
pretty much. I think getting older for me for also has been like realizing what things in my life are like insatiable. So like social media, if I want to post on social media, I'm always going to have the desire to post, get the dopamine hits and do all that. So like trying to figure out like, hey man, put your phone down, stop caring so much about this world because it's always going to require more of you and focus on what matters. Like give your time where it's actually going to make a difference instead of what gives you the most instant dopamine hits because that's not good for you either, man.
No. No, and I had an example of that. I mean, speaking of social media, it was a
Yeah.
post that I put out on Instagram where so it was like a Monday morning before school, and I'm doing the dishes, and it's like
Hmm.
we're getting the kids ready to get on the bus. And my son comes walking down, and he's got a box of Legos under his arm that he got for Christmas.
Hmm.
And he's like, I want to build some Legos. And typically, he and I'll sit on the couch and watch like one of our favorite YouTube shows.
Yeah.
And he's like, I want to build Legos. And so I'm like doing the dishes. And I don't know if I said it out loud, but I know I said it inside like, okay, cool. I'm going to finish loading the dishwasher and then I'm going to
Hmm.
go sit down with him and build Legos. That sounds like fun. But I questioned myself, like, do I have to finish loading the dishes? Like,
Yep.
why is that important? And
Yeah.
I had some like inner drive to do it. It's like, the house will be clean and that feels nice. And I'll feel like I, did a task and I can
Hmm.
check the box. And, that brings you mentioned dopamine, like,
Yeah.
checking the box on things mentally,
Yep.
that feels good. But
Yep.
then I'm like, well, you know, what's up for debate here? A couple minutes of my time, 3 or 4 minutes. Do I want to spend that time doing the dishes here and now? Or do I want 3 or 4 more minutes of time sitting at the table building Legos with my son before he gets on the bus to go to school? And
Yeah.
like, it was like a light bulb. I'm like, it's not for me in that moment. It's not the dishes. That's not the answer.
Yeah.
I want to go spend that time with my son
Hmm.
because one, like we only get so much of it. We know that, but like I only get so much of it in that morning. He's about to go get on the bus. So like I want it like here and now. And it was interesting. Like it was a post that like got a lot of traction and there was a ton of comments about it. Some very supportive, like, hey, cool way to be in the moment. There was a lot of that. But there was also a lot of like, teach like you made a mistake. You need to teach your kids that work and responsibility comes first before, you
Yeah.
know, joy or, reward or things like that. And, the whole of the post that I made was like, just stop and ask yourself and just be intentional. It's not about right versus wrong. It's not about like, do what I did. It's just question yourself and make sure that, what you're doing is actually the right thing for you at that point in time. But it
Correct.
was, it was like, it was pretty surprising how many people are like, you screwed that up. And I'm like, hey, that's cool. Like you're welcome to share that here. You really
Yeah.
are. But I'm telling you, for me, I
Hmm.
would make that same choice 100 times out of 100.
Yeah. Well, also, like, I think the specific add on there of like in this moment, because there's sometimes you probably are like, actually, I do really want to clean up the dishes. Like, it makes me feel better about myself today. And other days, it's like, they can wait. They can be good. Like, we try to reset the house every night before we go to bed because, like, waking up and seeing the kitchen ready to go, the dining room ready to go, and like the front play area not destroyed makes me feel like I'm not starting the day like on behind to some extent. Are there, but is my wife always like, hey, we don't have to reset every night? It's like, oh, we don't. This is a preference. I'm with you. I don't want to communicate to my kid having a clean house is more important than you.
Mhm.
But it's in the moment. It's like in that moment you felt like that was right. And also like you are trying to let other dads know, hey, if in the moment you think I'd rather be with my son than complete a task, you know you can do that. Like that's okay to do that. Is another telling people like, hey, it's okay is like so much of this world of like podcasting, social media is to be like, hey, if you want to hang out with your kids and enjoy them,
go do it. That's cool. That's
Mhm.
great.
Yeah, and, just I promise I won't talk about social media the whole time,
Yeah, you're
but there
good.
was
Yeah.
there was one post, my first post that ever really took off, and it's up almost like 700,000 views on Instagram, which is wild, and
What? I didn't even know that was an option.
it was such a cool experience, and I hadn't
Yeah.
even been posting for that long, it took off, and the message behind that video, I was at a meetup. It's a weekly meetup, and there's like 100 dads that show up and they talk about things. And they had a panel of fathers that were like in their 60s and 70s. And this first guy spoke, and he just said, like, take it from me. Somebody that, like really focused on work and being a provider. He's like, when you get to be my age, I promise you, you're not going to wish that you had more material things, and you're not going to wish that you had like more me time to yourself. You're going to wish you could have more of that time with your kids when they were young. And that, I mean, I'll never forget, that message and how he said it. And it sticks with me. And I think that message, was bouncing around in my head when I had that moment when I'm loading the dishwasher. I had a moment of presence or awareness, right? I refer to it as like a dark room, and there's like a crack in the door cracks open and just like
Yeah.
lets a little bit of light in. There's just like a little gap. And in
Mhm.
that gap, I just asked myself a couple questions. And I heard that 70-year-old dad talking to me saying, like, you're gonna want this 4 minutes, you're not gonna get to the end of your life and be really happy that you did the dishes right then. But you're gonna feel really good that you went and sat down at the table and got a little extra time with your son building Legos. And, that works for me. I'm not saying that that's what other people have to adopt,
Nope.
but that's how I wanna be.
Yeah. I think it's like living within, once again, more therapy talk, living within your integrity and listening to the dissonance. So like if you choose to do the dishes over hanging out with your kid and then later like that doesn't feel right, listen to that.
Mm,
That's your body, your psyche screaming like, hey man, I don't think you did the right thing here. And then tomorrow, then the next opportunity you make the correction. But like, yeah, I think I'm very big on like, what's your alignment? Are you aligned with yourself? Are you aligned with your values and your integrity? Because you feel it, your body holds it when you don't. It's like I go to the chiropractor. If my back is out of alignment, I feel it every single freaking day. And
mm.
whenever I get back in alignment, I'm like, oh, this is how it's supposed to be this entire time, isn't it?
Isn't it weird how people are so comfortable and accepting of going to get work done on the physical body, but how there's still like people I mean it's trending in the right direction, but there's
It
still
is,
sort of a stigma with like going to somebody to do work on, on
yeah,
your brain slash your mind slash how you feel. Like that's interesting to me. And like when you think about like when you compare how complex the brain is, and I'm I'm no doctor, but when I think about the complexity of the brain compared to the complexity of the body, like the brain has like way more stuff going on.
mm-hmm,
So
yep.
like why I don't know, why not do more of that? I don't know.
I don't know. I had a friend of mine helped me out with this, or was a good mind shift for me of like, if I'm coughing, if I've got drainage, I've got a bad headache and everything, I take NyQuil and I go to bed. If I'm like mentally foggy, I can't focus or anything like that, I assume I just need to toughen up or stick it out. As opposed to like, hey, how do you recenter? Like as older in life, I'm not like, hey, how do you recenter? Do you go on a walk? Do you listen to some music? Like that's the same thing. Your body is trending in a direction where you're like, hey, nothing good's going to come out of this. I need to take some meds. I need to recenter. But for some reason, we can understand it with like getting a cold. But yeah, if you're in a bad mental headspace, you need to just go on a walk by yourself. It's harder to be like, hey, look at your wife and be like, hey, I need to go on like a 10-minute walk. I'll be right back and I'll be a lot better. And I do think we're trending in a better direction. But there is still, even for my own self, I'm like, no, don't go on the walk, figure it out. And I'm like, you did figure it out. Go on a walk, clear your
Mm.
headspace, go do that instead.
Yeah, and I'm a big proponent of like having somebody around, like you just mentioned your wife, and my wife helps me in that way too, right? She'll like, they can see things that we can't sometimes, not
Yeah,
like,
of course.
the mystical power of a wife, but any person that's observing us can witness things that we're not aware of in the moment. So having somebody else in your life that can point those things out, and even just to be like, hey, like you told me that, like, if you're feeling blank or acting like blank that you want to go do this because it helps you. Like I'm telling you, you're in that space now. And it like, if you're in that space, that message like never really feels good, but it's like you can see the light through the fogs just enough to be like, I do remember saying that. I don't feel like I need to go do that thing right now, but man, I said it, so I'm just gonna go do it. And then like it's no magic. It works. It
Yep.
helps.
Pretty much. Yep. And vice versa. Also, my wife does a lot of like workouts, goes on long runs and all that because it helps her center. And yeah, there'll be some mornings where she's like, "Is it cool if I go on a longer run?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know. Like you'll be in a better headspace. You'll feel like you've taken care of yourself. Like this is all going to be better. So yeah, go do it." But I do think it takes like some maturity and honestly, older kids. Like whenever our kids were younger, one of us going up for like an hour-long walk when you've got like a 2-year-old at home is a different vibe than like a 9-year-old you're just going to negotiate screen time with. Is different than like a 2-year-old who's like falling over and like crying and
Yeah.
everything.
Yes, no doubt.
But I'm with you though. I still have the stubbornness to me of like, hey, you're just showing me a mirror. You're literally just holding up my words to me. And I'm still being stubborn and being like, I don't need a walk. And you're like, I'm just telling you what you told me. Like, I'm repeating your words back to you. And you're like, well, I didn't like my words. I should,
Yeah.
how dare you pay attention to me?
Yeah, it is wild. But like, again, just being able to observe that, like, that's what we're saying or like that's what we're feeling in the moment. Like, I can pat myself on the back with that because I don't know. I often think about it like kind of like stepping outside of my own body and like looking at it like from the sidelines of just objectively seeing
Yeah.
like what's happening. Like, how
Yep.
am I acting? What are the words that are coming out of my mouth? How do they sound?
Yep.
Like when I can, and I'm not having like this visual out of body experience, but I'm trying to think about things and consider them objectively. And when I can do that, it like each little time, it just sort of like I just level up. It's just like a
Yeah.
little ratchet where it's like I
Yeah.
keep getting better at this. It happens more frequently.
Mhm.
There's less friction for
Yeah.
me to get to that place, and that all, you know, you know, alignment and integrity. I'm like, cool, like that.
Yeah.
That investment of energy into something and like the return that I get on it, like I'm gonna do that every day of the week.
Yeah.
So it kind of just lets me know I'm on
Yeah.
the right path.
The thing I tell myself, like, because yeah, you do have to like be outside yourself a little bit, is like, hey, if you're at a playground and you heard a dad talking to their kids the way you're talking to your kids right now, would you think that dad was happy with his kids? Would you think that dad is in a good mental space right now? No. Hey man, you're not in a good mental space right now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great way to look at it.
So what's your like day job? I know you said you're a life coach. Is that like your full-time gig or do you do other stuff as well?
Yeah, full time. I run the Engaged Father Project, and happy to announce that very recently it just launched on the school platform. So we've got dads in there
Oh, cool.
doing the work, and it's awesome. It's traditionally been like the Engaged Father Project prior to launching in the school community was an 8-week group coaching program. So
Okay.
taking dads through that was my full-time gig or is my full-time gig, but now we're just doing it in a different place.
Cool. What's that? What's a school program? I don't know what that is.
It's an online community,
Okay.
SKOOL, and like it's a place that sort of serves the type of work that I want to do, right? It's where dads can show up, they can talk about, what's hard, what's working. There's a bunch of other dads in there kind of doing this work together. Like the sense of community, I think, is lacking for a lot of dads, right? Like I don't know of too many dads that have a place where they can just show up and be like, this is really hard. Or sometimes I feel like I don't know what to do and it scares the crap out of me. That's just not normal dad speak. It should be. I'm envious of women because for whatever reason, they're able to do that much more freely to kind of be raw and honest about the hardships of things. But I think guys kind of feel like they need to keep this facade up, like they got everything under control. That's a heavy burden to carry all the time. And when you carry something heavy for a long time, it hurts and it's tiring and it's exhausting. So having a spot where you can like kind of come put all that down. So yeah, it's a community, like there's, categories for like different things that we're doing within the Engaged Father Project. And there can be videos up there and challenges, and they sort of gamify the whole system based off of like your activity and engagement. It's a great platform to do this type of work.
That's awesome. I find it fascinating that whenever you hold a newborn, whenever it's your newborn, your first kid or whatever, you've never held your child for the first time ever. But there's something like whenever you do something for the first time, you're not that good at it. Like it's just you don't know what you're doing. And it's makes me sad that dads don't consistently have a space to be like, hey, I've never done this before. Because to me, that's not even humility. It's just a fact. I've never comforted a screaming 1-week-old before. How the hell do I do this? And I also want to create a space in which dads can look up and be like, hey, I've never done this before. How do I do this? Because that's humility, that's curiosity, that's looking for help. And those are all the things I feel like dads get accused of not looking for. And so my first thought is well, where can they ask it? Have we as a society then created a space in which a dad can show up and say, I don't know how to freaking install my car seat correctly. Does anyone know how to do this? For everything.
Yeah. Yeah, and to fast forward from your example about holding your kid for the first time, how about a dad that has a daughter that's maturing and going through puberty?
Yeah.
Talk about something that most of the time dads have no idea about what's going on.
Yep.
That's a big one. And how a dad shows up during, those years and in those moments for the daughter, that is massively, massively important, because it's an opportunity to either get things really right or to do things that honestly might really negatively shape the relationship. And not that it's irreparable, because that's the story that a lot of people, having a daughter, they're like, oh, just, wait until they turn 13. They become a monster, but they're like, oh, don't worry. They'll come back when they get older. So that might be true for a lot of people. And I've said from day one, when people started telling me that, I said, I'm going to buck the trend. It's going to be different for me. And I wasn't trying to manifest something, but I do think that there is something about me putting myself in a mindset of hey, I'm not going to war here. Everybody says I'm going to. And knowing that there may be challenges because, this young human is going through all of these changes. It allows me to kind of prepare myself for how I want to show up when things are hard. And so to get specific, what I tell myself is don't take it personally. Whatever might be coming out because they're saying something a different way than they normally would, don't take it personally. And two, just know that they've got so many different things coming on that they just haven't figured out how to handle yet. And so all of a sudden I have some empathy for wow, whatever's going on inside them that makes this negative thing come out, that must be really hard because that's not typically who they are. So for something to be causing them to have that reaction, whatever that thing is that's causing it, must be really challenging. And so instead of it's almost like the iceberg sticking out of the water. You can look at the part that's exposed, and maybe that part is really negative. And maybe they say something to the parent that doesn't feel good and it feels disrespectful, or it's whoa, I didn't deserve that. Or you can just know that there's something really deep and big going on under the surface. And then it's just okay, I don't need to worry about what's going on above the surface. Let that go. And then just be there, be supporting for your kid about whatever's going on underneath the surface. And that's hugely helpful for me.
Yeah. I think how I look at stuff is in my definition of being a parent, it's my job to, my kids are always going to enter into phases of life in which I don't necessarily know exactly what they're going through, how they feel about it and stuff like that. So it's my job to be available and give them space to express what they're feeling in that moment. Because I don't know what it's like to be a 13-year-old girl. I'm never going to understand what it's like to be a 13-year-old. And we're on the same side. And I never want my kids, wife, or people I love to feel like they have to go through something alone. So what that means is just more curiosity, more empathy, because you don't know. And some days that's easy. Some days, not so much. So, but that's same. I'm hey, my oldest daughter is about to be 10. So yeah, in the next 3 years, it's like, hey, as your body starts to go through a lot of changes that I don't understand, it's not for me to sit there and be like, how dare you do this? It's like, oh, what are you feeling today? Like, what's going on
Mhm.
internally today? Because like your body is changing so rapidly. You're going through so much growth and so many changes that like whenever you feel like you can't predict yourself, whenever I feel like I can't predict myself in a day, I'm not a nice person because I don't feel grounded. I don't feel anchored to anything. So, like, if that's how you feel every single day, yeah, of course you're going to lash out. Of course you're going to scream about stuff. Of course you're not going to be able to know how to predict yourself. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm on the same page as you. Like, this talk about, not this figured out, but like, hey, where are you today? And do you need chocolate? Like, what, what do you need? This figured out.
Yeah, and, like, 2 things came to mind as you were talking. One is, like, we don't know what it's like to be a 13-year-old girl, but
Never
we
will.
know what it was like to be a 13-year-old boy.
Hmm.
But we don't know what it's like to be a 13-year-old boy in 2026.
We
But,
don't.
like, we can't assume that we know where they're coming from, so, like, there's even a difference there. But imagine like, think about what it's like for the 13-year-old girl, and you talked about, like, all of the changes that are going on. Imagine being in school and surrounded by other 13-year-old girls that are all or most going
Yeah.
through a similar change at the same time. Like, think about how, like, volatile of an environment that is. And so just, like, socially, what it takes for a girl to, like, make it through the day. Like, holy cow,
Hmm.
you and I have no idea what that's like.
None
Not
whatsoever.
even close. So I think
Yeah.
having that understanding of like, one, we don't know, it kind of lets us off the hook from the sense of a lot of dads want to be the fixer. So it's like, well, how can I fix this? You can't.
You're not.
So don't try. So like it's so many guys want to be the fixer. I'm guilty of it. My wife would tell
Absolutely.
you that I'm guilty of it. I'm
Yeah.
making massive progress there. But like just knowing that there's no chance that we could ever fix it. It's like, okay, cool. Well, since I can't fix it, like, what's my play?
Mhm.
Like, how can, like you said, how can I just give them the support that they need? We're like, well, I'm a guy and she's a how do I know that? Ask them. Like,
Ask them.
hey,
That's it.
like, what is it that I can give to you right now? Somebody told me about like the 3 H's. Do you want to be heard? Do you want to be helped? Or do you just want to be held? Held or hugged, whatever. And so that's a cute little thing to keep in the back of your head where it's like if your kid's going through something, especially for the people that want to play the role of fixer, just think about that and just asking like what they need in that moment, like that already does so much of the
Yeah.
heavy lifting. It
Yep.
like pushes pause on everything that's going on. It tells them, I mean, think about what that feels like for them. Like when the adult, the authority figure just shows up and is like, hey, what do you what do you need from me like right now? Like I know this is hard for you.
Mhm.
How can I help? What do
Yeah.
you what can I give you? And it's just like, oh, like even just saying that, I can picture myself being on the receiving end of that. We like that as adults too, right? It's no
We
different.
do.
Like
Yeah.
imagine or put yourself in any situation that's really hard and someone comes up and they put their arm around you like, hey, like how can I help? What can I do? It's just like, oh man, there's like
Yeah.
instantly there's a connection that's happening there.
Yeah. Not on the same thing, but I do find it fascinating whenever like society does have a preconceived this will be hard type of thing. Whenever I potty trained my son is youngest, so it goes daughter, daughter, then son. And everyone's like, oh, it's so hard to potty train boys. And I was like, I bet what's different? Like, just I don't understand. And like, it was pretty easy. But that was another thing where like going into it, I was like, my first thought was like, oh, this is going to be harder because it's a boy, and being like, why? And I was like, oh, I have no idea. Just someone told me it was. So,
I wonder, like, this is kind of way off topic, but
yeah,
like,
yeah.
what do you think makes people want to say things like that? Like,
I oh
what's the internal
yeah.
drive?
I assume whenever you go through something that is difficult, you want it to be validated in some way. So if you had a hard time potty training your son, if you had a hard time whenever your daughter was whenever you have teenagers, basically, I think you're trying to be like, oh, that was really hard, wasn't it? And like then that somehow like your discomfort gets validated if someone agrees with you is the assumption I have. To
But
me,
what
it's
if
always
they're
about
warning you? What if it's like, with me and having a
yeah,
daughter, like, oh, wait, just wait until 8 years from now when things
yeah.
get really hard. What's that motivation?
You know what? Here's the question I ask myself every single day. If this is what connection looks like to some people, am I just really weird? What's wrong with me? Because yeah, people will be like, oh, it's so hard to have this. And you're like, maybe currently it's not. So what am I, if this isn't the biggest struggle in my life, if potty training my son wasn't the worst experience of my life, what did I do differently that everyone else didn't do? And that's not even for like an ego build. That's just like why are you able to connect with your daughter when she's 13 whenever everyone told you you're never going to be able to connect with her? Like it's why then I'm kind of like, what is this me? Is this culture? Like I more go like inward and like I don't feel like I did anything that's special, but apparently I did. So I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah, well, and to your point, like maybe me probably just being naive at the time because I was saying like I'm going to be the one that bucks the trend. Like that's way before like I learned so much about what it means to like be a present and aware human being. Like I feel like I've
Yeah.
always been a good person,
Yeah.
but like I've really like my mind has really expanded over the past like 3 years. And so it almost sounds like I was trying to like set the intention or manifest something, but I wasn't. But maybe like just a byproduct of saying like, "Oh no, I'm going to be the one that bucks the trend." Maybe that just removes like kind of clears a path
Yeah.
for things to just exist and happen as they are. So like, my daughter has a tough moment. And it's like, okay, it's just a tough moment instead of like, oh boy, here we go.
Oh, here it comes. Yeah.
Ralph warned me about this. So like,
Uh-huh.
I got to put my dukes up or like
Yeah.
you're expecting,
Yeah.
or let's say like you're expecting it to be hard. So maybe something happens. You think it's an example of some of this hardship, but like maybe you're wrong. But because you're like anticipating it, you're like looking for things that maybe aren't even there. And like obviously we know how that's going to end up. So
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of benefit to just going into it, assuming, hoping for the best, right?
Yeah. Well, I think there's also this, like, I think one trend that I would like to think our generation is bucking is us versus them. Like my kids aren't against me. My kids, we're in this together. And I feel like there used to be this very much trend of like, well, it's you versus your kids. It's you against all them. And you're like, but we're a family. That's not, that's not how I define family. So like we do our best to make everything a conversation in our house. And I've rarely like, we grew up with parents who are like, you're doing this because I said so. I don't
Yes.
know many dad to look up and say, you're doing this because I said so. I think from my vantage point, most dads take the time to be like, hey, we're doing this. Here's my reasoning. And I'm the final say, but here's why we're doing it. And I know tons of people our age who are like, all my dad or mom would say was, we're doing it this way, no discussion. And that created resentment, distrust, like a lot of negative things because they felt unheard. And my hope is that like once my kids know, hey, I heard what you said, we're still going to do it this way. Like they at least understand. And I'm still going to need to pay for therapy no matter what. But at least I've explained myself on the front end.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I think things are going in a very healthy direction there. It can't happen quick enough, that sort of awareness. Cause I think the because I said so thing, that feels like either like a demand for respect or fear, like fear of like, maybe I can't even do a good job of articulating why we're doing this. So I'm just going to say because I said so, because I don't want to look foolish in front of my kids, or like my reasoning is something that's not very sound and I'm uncomfortable with them
Yep.
knowing that. So I'm just going to
Yep.
shut it down and say because I said so.
I think so. I think it is. I think both those reasons are 100% accurate. Because if I say because I said so, it's because I don't want to continue the conversation.
Yeah.
That's what it
That's
means.
right. Yeah.
It's because I'm like, if we keep talking about this, I'm going to reveal the cracks in my logic. And I don't want to.
Hmm. That's right. That's right.
And that's just reality. I mean, parenting is rough, man. You're trying to figure out how to do something for the first time ever and act like you know what you're doing because other people depend on you. And I think that's why community is so important. So you can't have the space to be like, did I do this? I'm going to tell you what I did. Tell me your thoughts on what, don't tell me if I'm right or wrong. Just what's your gut say about this situation and how I handled it?
Yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt, man. Like every day, we're a day older as the parents and like we've learned something, and then
Yeah.
our kids have also changed.
Yeah.
So we've never parented a kid that is exactly that old. And so we've never really, we can't say that we've arrived and got things figured out because it's ever changing. So I think knowing that is really helpful. It takes some of the pressure off of kind of feeling like we have to have everything figured out. And I also, man, like one of my big themes recently is being vulnerable. And it came up yesterday about how I'm now equating vulnerable with strength. And like maybe being vulnerable requires strength. Whereas I think for a long time, especially for men, like being vulnerable was viewed as a sign of weakness. And, maybe if you go back to caveman days, maybe that was true. Like maybe
Yeah.
if you looked like you were unhealthy or not as strong, like maybe somebody would come and, hit you over the head with a
Mhm.
stick and they're
Yeah.
going to take, your turkey leg that you're eating on.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like clearly we're not there anymore. So like I'm really leaning into being vulnerable. And that goes all the way down to having conversations with my kids. Hey man, I promise I'm doing my best, but I don't have all the answers. This is what I think is best right now. And like this is what we're going to do. And I'm also open to feedback. Like if you want to share your thoughts in a constructive way about how something went, I welcome that. Like if and I'll ask my kids specifically, like if there's a tough conversation or just like a moment of conflict, whatever,
Mhm.
I'll get feedback from my kids. How'd I do? And like I never used to do that, but
No.
it's such a good feeling for me because of what it must feel like for my kids to have the parent coming to them to be like, one, I'm telling you that I don't have it all figured out. Two, like I care, you're smart and you're an important member of this family
Yeah.
and I care about your feedback. And three, I'm telling you that like I want to hear what you have to say because I want to do a better job for you as the kid. And so I've asked my kids and it's gone both ways. Like I've asked for feedback and like, how'd I do? And there's been times when like I thought like I handled it really well. And it's like, yeah, like there's improvement there. You did better, but like still like was a little rough around the edges. And then there's been other times when I was kind of beating myself up and they're like, I love when they talk about old dad. I'm going to do a social media post about this soon.
Yeah.
My kids talk about the old version of me. And I think
Yeah.
it's so cool because for there to be an old version of me, it means that there needs to be like a new version.
Mhm.
And like the talking about the gap between the two, hearing my kids talk about how they can see and feel the progress that I've made as a dad because of this work that I've done and continued to do, like for them to point that out and for me to get that back in terms of like validating everything that I'm doing and all this
That's
like
awesome.
effort that I'm putting in
Yeah.
is massive. It's like a
Yeah.
huge gust of wind in the
Yeah.
sails where it's like, oh, right. Like we're getting somewhere. And I know it because they're telling me. And
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
I love old dad.
That's awesome. What if I can ask, like, what was there a moment in your life that made you be like, all right, I got to clean some stuff up. I'm not present. Yeah. Or that made you go from old dad to new dad. Or was there any catalyst for that? Or you just kind of look up and were like, I am not happy with who I am right now.
There was a moment, and when I
Yeah.
think hard, I can find a handful of moments, but like the one that always sticks out was, so I worked in a corporate setting for
Okay.
about 18 years. I started there, part-time. I went to art school. I started at this company as a part-time graphic designer. Great company, like privately owned, 100-year-old, 600 employees. And I was vice president there. And like with that responsibility at that level was like a lot of stress and anxiety with the job. And we took like a little weekend mini vacation. We drove like 2 hours north. I live in Ohio. And so there's a really great amusement park called Cedar Point. It's right on
Oh,
Lake
yeah, of
Erie.
course. I'm from Evansville. So, yeah, I'm very familiar. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're at Cedar Point, and we're staying at a hotel, and we were there like all day at the park. Had an awesome day. Go back to the hotel. Like kids are jumping on the bed. We order pizza into the room. Like just awesome, awesome, awesome. And we go to bed, and like my son slept with me in a bed, and my daughter slept with my wife, and the kids thought that was really cool. This like mini sleepover in a hotel. And I wake up on Sunday morning, and my son is like sleeping on me, and he probably would have been 4 at the time, maybe 5. And like I wake up early, so I'm the first one to open their eyes, and I'm just, I'm in a hotel room, not in my bed, so I'm kind of just taking inventory of where I'm at, and like I see my son there. It's like wow, that's cool. And like within, I don't know how long it was. It felt like 5 seconds. My mind went to work mode.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, gosh, we had this huge software upgrade. Like, what if things go wrong? Everybody's going to be pointing to me with like, what do we do? And like, what would be my course of action? And like, I just mentally, I was completely like, not only was I checked out, I was in like Stressville.
Yep.
And the perfection of that moment, like when I first opened my eyes and I realized like I'm in a hotel not far
This is
away
cool.
from an
Yeah.
amusement park. I got like my son like sleeping on my chest, like wow. Like it was like one of those like really
Yeah.
special life
Mhm.
moments.
Yep.
But I felt like I was like ripped out of that like a sci-fi movie and like just thrust into this other place. And I was able, like, it was so jarring to me that I was able to see like, whoa, dude, like if you can't be there for those moments of life, because those are fleeting, man. Like
Mhm.
even as I was kind of going through it, you just know like those moments are so special. And it's like you couldn't even be there to soak that up and really
Yeah.
experience it. Instead, you were, worrying about a software upgrade at work. It was
Mhm.
like something is not right here. And that was a very defining moment for me as a
Mhm.
dad.
Yeah. No, that's real though. That's I mean, I've talked to other dads, or I know people where that's their realities. Yeah, they're on the vacation finally. They're on the time to disconnect from work. And then in the moment of while they're sitting there watching their family, they're like, "Hey, have you thought about it from this angle yet?" And you're like, "I don't want to problem solve that right now. Like, stop it. I'm not here to problem solve. I'm here to enjoy my family." And that's the question, man, is if you're laying there in a bed next to an amusement park, enjoying life with your family, and your mind immediately, and it's whenever it has a space to do it, goes to how do I fix other things that about the company I work for? Then it's like, that's taking up too much of me. That is my,
Mhm.
like, it's too much me now. And I need to, if this room isn't enough for me to be mentally present, what changes do I need to make? Because that's not what I want to be.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's like, that's what I was working for, right?
Yeah, of course.
And I saw it, with my dad and my brother. They went down this business path, and, they were successful.
Hmm.
And so it was just part of that, like the American dream in a box, right? Like you go to college and you graduate and get a job, get promoted, make money, get more status, and then like happiness will be there waiting for you. But like in that moment, like in the hotel room, like that was literally everything that I had been working for. Like that was the happiness. And I couldn't even enjoy it. So now, looking back with a lot of clarity, I fully realize that like happiness doesn't come from the material things and the responsibility like I thought it would. Cause like that's, getting to that point, once I got to the vice president level and I really kind of felt like, okay, like all the material boxes are checked. Like
Yeah,
I really should be happy now. But, dealing with, so much stress and anxiety, and had my first panic attack
that's
as a
fun.
result of all that.
Yep.
It was like, whoa, like again,
Yeah.
on a more like macro view of myself and what I was doing with my life, it was like, well, you thought happiness would be here waiting for you.
Yeah. Hmm.
It's not. So like,
Yeah.
what are you going to do? And like, that's
Yeah.
what led to me, ultimately stepping away from that job and going and getting certified as a coach, because a coach helped me through
Okay.
those challenging parts of life. I didn't know what a life coach was before this. If you would have asked me, I would have said like, it's for people that are just like, bad at life and they can't get their stuff together. I thought that's what a life coach was. Like, "Hey, we're going to teach you how to like balance a checkbook." Like
Yeah.
checkbook is even laughable because that's not even a thing anymore. But I just thought it was like for those basic life skills, like basic responsibility. So like I kind of accidentally found a life coach. They quite literally changed the way that I just saw life and how I experienced life. And I just decided like I want to be in that space. I love how it feels to be in that space, and if I can support other people the way that I was supported, like that sounds like really like fulfilling and meaningful. And then like if I can also like pay for my bills by doing it, it was like, it was like
Yeah.
three
Yeah.
check boxes. Like
Yeah.
like the three circle,
Yeah.
I
The
think it
Venn
would be like
diagram. Yeah.
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 It
Yeah.
felt like all three of those things like just stacked
We're
up and
lining
it
up for you.
just looked like one circle. So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
that's the direction for me.
Yeah. It's there's a Thomas Merton quote that's I'm not going to say it correctly, but it's basically that like a lot of us spend our entire lives climbing the ladder only to realize we put it against the wrong wall.
Yeah.
And I think like, yeah, that's what I'm very receptive whenever someone starts to tell that story. I'm like, oh, you must be in your mid 30s. Cause in your mid 30s is kind of whenever you look up and you're like, what kingdom was I building? What was I sprinting for this entire time? And hopefully you have the moment of clarity to look up and be like, yeah, no, that's not the path I want to be on anymore. So you climb down the ladder, put it against a new wall. But it is like universal almost in American culture that like, yeah, in your mid 30s or so, you look up and you're like, what the hell was I sprinting for?
Yeah.
What am I doing here? And then hopefully you have the mental space and ability to look up and be like, I don't have to be this person. I don't need to be this person. I don't need to be a vice president. I don't need to deal with this stress level for me to be valuable, worth loving. And then be like, cool. Well, then I think a lot of times it's the first time you look in the mirror and go, so what do I want to be? I
Mhm.
thought this was it. And I know that's not it. So who do I actually want to be? And it's a beautiful and exhausting journey.
Yeah, it is. And like that, realizing that your ladder's on the wrong wall, to use your analogy, that don't you think that that is kind of like the midlife crisis label, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, wow, happiness is not here. So, what is like you're supposed to go get a red convertible or something, and like
You are, yeah, yeah.
that'll make
Red
us dudes
convertible.
happy.
Yep. That's right. I'm 6'4", so I like anytime someone's like, "Are you going to buy a sports car?" and I'm like, I can't fit in most sports cars.
Well, that's why you need a convertible.
That's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm really more selling the convertible element of it.
Yeah, you have to wear like a full face helmet because you're just going to be getting like
Because
hit with
here's
wind
the
and bugs.
windshield, and that's awesome. No, I think also whenever you find something that changes you, gives you relief, gives you hope in the world, I'm glad that you then turn that energy into how do I make sure if other people might be in the same mental space that you were in, you're trying to open up a door for them so they can see like, hey, if you feel smothered by this, no. Like there's other stuff available for you. So that's paying it forward. I feel like is always like the true sign of like knowing that something changed someone and like showed them, yeah, like made them rethink themselves,
Yeah. Well, like pay it forward. That's a nice way of looking at it. I'll admit, like it almost feels more selfish because I don't know. Fulfilling. Wow, that sounds
Yeah,
way
yeah.
better than selfish. Like it being able to help somebody like make a really meaningful change in their life for the
Mhm.
things that they care so much about, and then they have this tangible example of like, man, I would have handled it this way, but now I'm doing this. Like me being able to, I'm not taking responsibility for it, but to be a part of
Yeah.
that change, like I almost start to like get emotional with it. Like it is like it's so yeah,
Beautiful.
it's so fulfilling. It is beautiful,
Yeah.
but like it hits at like such a deep place where it's just like okay. And I've said like I've said that I found my calling, and to be able to one say that, but to like truly believe it is incredible. I'm so grateful and I'm so thankful. I'm thankful. So like those rough moments or those hard and challenging moments that I
Yeah.
talked about, panic attack and
Yes.
mentally being checked out while I'm on vacation, like
Yeah.
those things hurt, but I'm also thankful for them because
Mhm.
I wouldn't be where I am now had I not gone through those really tough moments. And like the expectation of what I thought it would be like to be professionally successful, and then like where my experience was, like that gap was so large
Mhm.
that it almost forced me to like kind of pop my head up and like look around and be
Yeah.
like what
Yeah.
what am I going? Had it been a
Yep.
little closer, I probably could have brushed it off and just like
Mhm.
put my head back down and just stayed the course. And so
Yeah.
it feels so strange to say I'm thankful for the pain and the discomfort, but man, without it, I don't I don't know if I'd be where I am now. And that's honestly, it's like it's kind of scary or terrifying to think about.
It is. I think we all hold dissonance because there's like expectation and reality. The gap between that, I always consider like dissonance of like, okay, here's what I thought it'd be like being a vice president of a company. Here's the reality of being one. How do you like that? There's a lot of dissonance here between what I thought this would be and what it actually is. And like how you hold that, what that makes you do. Some days you can brush it off and be like, man, it's life. And other days you're like, no, really, what am I doing? Like,
Mhm.
what am I doing here?
Yeah, man.
So anyway, I'll start wrapping up the episode. So how I end every episode is ask every guest a series of 5 questions. They're kind of fun. They aren't rapid fire. You have time to think about them. The first question is, did you have any backup names for your kids? Like, did you have any names that you almost named your kids?
Yeah, like there was like a good contender for my son that my wife really liked, but it never really landed. We struggled for a long time to find or to land on a name for my daughter for our first kid. And we were watching it's a movie, Steve Carell, and I think Emma Stone is in it. And
Oh,
something with love
God.
or ready or
Stupid Crazy Love? Something
yes,
like
thank
that?
you.
Yeah, yeah.
We're watching that movie, and I think it's Emma Stone's character. Her name's Hannah, and I was like, "How about Hannah?" And my wife's like, "Bing!" And like it was like a bolt of lightning. It's like cool, like we got that done. I can picture like right where we were because like
That's
first
awesome.
kid, we both had like notes in our phone with like 70 names. Like we were
Yeah.
super extra with our first kid, and
Yes.
so we were always talking about it. And like just in that moment, it was like both like a full like 100 for us. So like that was cool.
Yes.
And yeah, there was one backup name for my son, but it never really was a good like close second contender.
Yeah. Yeah. I think naming girls is fun because like you can be whimsical, you can be fun with them. I feel like for a boy, you either go very straightforward and traditional or quirky. Like I don't feel like there's like a lot of in between for them.
That's right.
So next question. Do you have a favorite TV or movie dad?
Ooh, favorite TV dad.
Or movie, just like fictional
dad.
character dad,
The first thing that came to mind, I'm going to go with it. So on
Yeah.
Netflix, there's a travel food show called Somebody Feed Phil.
I haven't watched it, but I know it exists.
Yeah, it's Phil Rosenthal. He's one of the co-creators of Everybody Loves Raymond.
Oh, okay.
He is an awesome dad and an awesome husband. His kids will be on the show every once in a while, and he brings his wife along to some of these like really cool destinations, and he's a super interesting character. So
Yeah.
highly recommend checking out the show if
Okay.
if you enjoy travel or food shows, whatever.
I do. Both of them. Yep.
It's really well done, but he's an excellent example of he's a great example of a father. But I think
Yeah.
what they show more of is how good of a husband he is and how he treats his wife
Yeah.
is really special. And I try to model that in my own life sometimes.
Yep. Well, I mean, yeah, if you watch someone treat their partner well, you're like, I could probably use some work there.
Yeah, I fully admit that, man. My wife's incredible, and
Yeah.
I'm a good husband,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
I could absolutely be better. She deserves better.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll be watching this. So hey, I'm saying
I'm
it here. It's
trying
being
here.
recorded.
That's right.
I'll do better. I can always do
Yeah.
better, and I will do better.
Yeah. Do you give me $20 after she watches it, or is it?
Yeah, is that what we
Yeah,
agreed
yeah.
on? 20.
That's
Cool.
what we. But I think marriage and fatherhood just always teaches me, like, I thought I knew what intentionality was. I need to be more intentional. Like, no matter what, no matter how much energy I put into it, I always need to be more intentional, no matter how much I put into it. Totally agree.
No doubt.
And then next question is, what's your replacement curse word? You stub your toe, kids are around, someone cuts you off in traffic. What do you scream instead of a curse word? Or do you just say the curse word?
I don't have a well, we got some loose language in this house. I'm not gonna lie.
That's cool. The most common answer is I just curse. So don't worry, you're okay.
But I said, there's one that my family kind of laughs at. I said something that didn't really make sense. I think I did stub my toe, but
Yeah.
I said like a fudge factory. And like, I don't even know what that means. Like, it doesn't really make any sense, but the family loves that one. So that's
Fudge factory.
That's one that comes up. Yeah. It's got that nice long F in there. So
Yep.
that's one that we've kind of adopted.
That's fantastic. And also, like, your kids should poke fun. Like, if you get cut off in traffic, your kid should be like, "Oh, Dad, what a fudge factory up there!" Like,
Yeah,
it's
that's
a
right.
solid one. because it's very prone to like poke fun at you for it in a way to which you're like, yeah, no, guys, I don't know why I'm the way I am either. So I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yep.
Next question. What's like one of your favorite activities or toys that you play with your kids?
Whew, activities or toys? It's not a toy. Well, I love being outside
Yeah.
in nature with my kids. I
Yep.
don't know if that qualifies as an
It
answer.
does. Yep.
Um, I there's a selfish component of that because nature is one of the things that I've found that like really helps me. It's an important
Hmm.
I've realized that it's so important that I schedule it into, my life. Um, but being out in nature with my kids especially is awesome, and we do, like, this little game, it's just, like, sights and sounds where we just take turns, like, noticing, like, using our 5 senses and, like, what's something that you wouldn't typically notice, like, as we're walking down? It's like, the gravel, like, after you take a step and, like, the rock keeps rolling and, like, makes a noise or, like, hearing the cars way off in the distance, like,
Yeah.
man, I can
That's cool.
feel, like my nervous system, like, regulating just, like, talking
Yeah.
about it.
That's cool. Now we live out in Colorado, and it's very natural just to be outside out here. There's no mosquitoes, there's no humidity, so like, yeah, no, it's I also find a connection with nature to be centering because nature never requires anything of me.
Yeah.
Like, just yeah. So it's kind of you just go out there and exist in it, and you're like, oh, I can just exist for once. That's nice.
I love
This
Colorado.
is good.
I'm envious
Good.
of you.
That's fair. Next question. Since you do, encourage dads, talk to so many dads, what's like your go-to or most common like piece of advice that you give a dad? Or like if something like that.
Well, everybody loves to give advice to,
Yeah.
like, first-time dads, like, when the mom is still pregnant. So, my advice for them is, like, I say, "Hey, I'm not going to give you advice. I'm gonna be, like, the one guy who doesn't give you advice." And then, like, I immediately break that own rule, and I give them advice, and I
Yeah, yeah.
just say, "Do what works for you guys." Like, everybody's gonna have these special tips and tricks. Like, just give yourself some space to figure things out. You're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And just know that it's okay to, like, it's so tempting to take, like, all of the best pieces and parts from all the things that you hear and think, like, that's the expectation of how you're supposed to be as a parent because
Mhm.
what you're doing is the most important thing that you've ever done in your life, like, that's what's happening, so it's like, "Well, I need to do if this is the most important thing, if I'm ever going to be, you know, at that top level, now's the time." And like putting that expectation and pressure on yourself is so tough. So I just tell people like, you're going to figure it out and it's going to be okay.
Yep. Pretty much. You care. Like just hey, you care and you'll figure it out. And you'll be okay. And totally with you. Yeah, yeah, because it does take some like tweaking to be like, hey, someone told me this works. And you're like, does it work for us? Maybe. I don't know. If it does, cool. That's great. If not, cool. There's other things you can try.
Yeah. Yeah, no
Yeah.
doubt.
And then last thing is just like moment for self promotion. If you want to find like your Instagram, your coursework, all that stuff, do some self promotion.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, why not?
YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, it's at the Engaged Father Project. Go check me out on Instagram. You can see that post that really blew up there. TikTok is newer for me, but like having really cool engagement there. So
Yeah,
I would love to see you there and feel free to like send me a message and like let's just have a conversation. Like if you're a dad and you're hearing this, it's like, yeah, like I know I could be doing better. Like, what I said to my amazingly wonderful and beautiful wife when I was talking into the camera to her. Where it's like
yeah, yeah,
if you remember that part when I did that?
yeah, 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 yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Like if you have that feeling about, being a dad where it's like I'm a good dad. Most dads are good dads, but like if you just if good's not good enough, sounds a little corny, but like I really kind of love that. Like if 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 your kids are important enough to where good is not good enough for you and you want to be a great dad. And what is a great dad? That's up to you as the
Hmm.
person. But like
Yep.
what I want to encourage people to do the work now. Like be that
Yeah.
great dad now. So when you're 70 years old and maybe you're sitting on a dock overlooking a lake and you're sitting there, it's like I feel like it could go one of two ways. And of course there's middle ground. But it's like you could be that 70-year-old dad that was there with 100 other fathers, and there was a panel on stage, and he goes, "Take it from me. You're going to wish that you'd spent more time with your kids." So you could be that dad where you sunk all your time and energy into work, and now you like carry this weight of regret. Or you can be the dad that's sitting there like smiling, going like, I showed up when
Yeah.
it mattered.
Yeah.
And I seriously, like I cry a lot.
Yeah.
There's being vulnerable. I used to try to hide that. I don't anymore. It almost brings tears to my eyes to think about, because I'll be there. I'm going to be that dad where I'm sitting on the dock and I'm like, man, I went all in.
Yeah.
And I gave it my all, and I faced my demons, my limiting beliefs, and things that made me uncomfortable. And I did it for my kids. And man, am I ever glad that I did. I'm going to be that dad. And like, if you're hearing this and you want to feel that as well, like, come join me. Like, go to school, SKOOL, and look up the Engaged Father Project. There's no cost to join. Like, in this, I just kicked this thing off a couple of days ago. So I'm not sure when the podcast will air. It doesn't matter. But like, it just started. But there's already fathers in there, like, taking their armor off and sharing like how things
Yeah.
are hard, and other dads are in there like supporting them and like saying like, man, like I hear what you're saying, and like it's all of this is okay. So like,
Yeah.
come join us. Take advantage of this unique space where you can come and be that open and honest. And then like, once you kind of get that weight off your chest, then we start getting really intentional. We start like taking whatever that great dad is, and we take it from something that's like theory and sounds nice, and we start doing like practical applications of it. And it's not that complicated, but you kept talking about being intentional. It's using that word, it's using intentionality to be that dad. And you can do it on your own. Like, you don't need me to do this. You don't need this group to do it. It's not required. But why wouldn't you take advantage of this group? Because that's what we're here for, and it's going to make it easier, and it's going to make it faster, and the rewards will be bigger. So come be a part of something awesome.
Heck yeah. Now, I believe in what you're doing, because I do genuinely, I believe in my heart that every dad cares. It's just helping them figure out how they can express their love in a way in which it connects with their family, with their community, and can be seen and heard. Because I think there's not enough spaces for dads to look up and be like, what am I doing? This is hard, to buck their generational trends and make changes that like make them the dad sitting on the dock whenever they're in their 70s being like, I did the work and damn it, I'm proud.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so worth it. And Devin, I'm part of like an entrepreneurial group. It's a different community that's on school. But January, we're doing a challenge where it's called Go for No, where you ask people yes or no questions that you typically would shy away from.
Yeah.
Devin, will you join me in the Engaged Father Project community on school?
Yeah, I probably will. Yeah, I'll probably Google it after this. Yeah.
I'll do you one better, brother. I'll send you the link, and I look forward to seeing you.
Send me that link. Perfect.
Yeah. Hey, guys, if you're listening, come join Devin and I in this community. Come do awesome things with us.
Heck yeah, man. For the most part, man, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for spending some time with me, and thanks for doing the work that you're doing.
Thank you for the opportunity. It's been such a pleasure. I really appreciate it.
Perfect. Thanks, John. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
All right.
Thank you so much for listening to the episode. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at the Imperfect Dads Podcast. And make sure to give us 5 stars wherever you listen to us. Music, editing, and production is all done by me. Make sure to tune in on Mondays and most Thursdays for new episodes. This podcast is part of the Never Effaced Network. Make sure to go to nevereffacednetwork.com to learn more about them.